Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Now that Ryan Garcia has got himself a victory and he's riding on a high horse, working with Derrick James, Ryan Garcia is really trying to convince the world that he wants to fight Tank Davis in a rematch. And he seems to believe that he will knock out Gervonta Tank Davis. Not just beat him, but knock him out. And my thing is, without getting into all the semantics and the particulars, the rematch weight, rehydration clause, etc., right? Let's just set all that aside. But if Ryan Garcia were to rematch Tank Davis and get the victory, how big of a win would that be? Now, Errol Spence, something, how does that sound? Thought it was a secret society over there. But with Errol Spence and the fact that he does have a rematch with Terrence Crawford, we know what happened in that first fight. I haven't heard one person say, oh, Errol Spence was doing great. That first round, Errol Spence looked like Errol Spence. Got touched up a little bit towards the end of that first round. Second round on, just wasn't good, right? But if Errol Spence could come back now, whatever weight he's fighting Terrence Crawford at, 147, 154, at whatever weight, just how great of a victory will that be for Errol Spence? But since we're talking about rematches, whose rematch victory, if they're able to get a win, would be greater? Ryan Garcia against Tank or Errol Spence against Terrence Crawford? Now, I'm going to tell you, there have been a lot of rematches, and sometimes, you don't see the person who lost the first fight, second fight, you don't see them get a win, but you see some really good fights. James Toney, McCallum, that was a good fight. Guys actually had a trilogy. Rocky Martinez, Orlando Salido. A lot of y'all probably don't know about Orlando Salido, Rocky Martinez anymore because those guys fought a long time ago. But if you don't know who Salido is the one that gave Lomachenko horrors. I think in his second fight. He fouled the hell out of him. Man. And I think it was Orlando Salido against Juanma, the Puerto Rican fighter, that just, beat smoke out of him. Then you think about Michael Carbajal, Humberto Gonzalez. Matter of fact, in that fight was the first time you're seeing a guy's, I think, 118-pound weight class, or something like that, to make the first $1 million payday. Then he had Ivan Robinson, Arturo Gatti. Although Gotti, he was a guy who took losses. Gotti remained a fan favorite and did very well in his boxing career. Then you have Ricardo Lopez, Rosendo, Acevedo, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Thomas Hearns. Bottom line is, there's a lot of rematches that have happened, and some guys got wins, some didn't. But for Errol Spence and Ryan Garcia, I'm going to tell you right now, man, for Errol Spence, this is the problem, right? The weight, we've talked about it, but the weight will matter. The weight will make a difference. Because I'll put it to you this way. I've talked about this in a video before. I remember when I used to cut weight, I'd walk around at 205 pounds, right? Now I weigh like 260. But when I was 205 pounds, right, that's what I call the weight that's going to get me to Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be in the gym, 315, repping it out. 3 sets, 6 to 8. You know what I'm saying? Strong. But when I used to cut weight from 205 to 160 for a tournament, right? There's nowhere in the world you can get me underneath 315 pounds for one rep. Not even one rep. And it's just amazing how the body weakens when you deprive it of the proper nourishment. You know, fats are important. Carbohydrates are important. Rest is important. And when you break your body down to a point to where now, what's it called? Ketosis? I could be wrong, right? But now your body starts to kind of cannibalize because there's nothing else for you to give. The water weight and everything, and the damn sauna suits and the hot baths, and let me tell you, when you're spitting everywhere, just trying to make weight, your body goes through a lot. So I do think for Errol Spence, if the weight was really the issue, right? Because if you listen to Derek James, he knows what the problem was. You listen to some people, Errol Spence got a rib broken, which is all bullshit. Some people say, no, he lost in the gym because he sparred so hard, 15, 20 rounds. The sparring partners beat the fight out of Errol Spence. I'm going to tell you this. No matter what may have happened to Errol Spence going into the Terrence Crawford fight, in that first round, Errol Spence looked amazing. Coming into the ring, yeah, he looked a little weird with the glossy eyes, but when he got in that ring, he started letting his hands go. So I just think Terrence Crawford is just a better fighter. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. But I do think if he really had to come down from, 275 pounds, because eating all that damn Texas barbecue and shit, and roadkill that they're eating out there, right? If that's true, then he probably was a bit weak. Going up to 154, it's a 7-pound difference. Don't know how easy it is for him to make 154, but damn sure a lot easier to make it 147. He should feel better, right? So I think we got to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, if this rematch does happen at 154, then we should see something different. Does he win? I don't know about that, but he should have more energy. He should feel stronger, right? And he should be able to put on a better performance. Now, the thing with weight, look, nobody knows. Something about Crawford said, fight is contracted for 147. Looks like we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen as far as the weight, right? We're just having a conversation. Who knows what's going to happen with the weight? But what we do know is the fight's going to happen. If Errol Spence can somehow pull off a win against Terrence Crawford, the way he lost that first fight, that would be huge. Huge, man. Because not many people want to see that rematch at 154, 160. Nobody wants to see it. Because there are a lot of people that have genuine concern for Errol Spence since the car accident, coming into, being in tough fights. He had another car accident, had an issue with his eye. Now going in there and being beat to damn near death by Terrence Crawford. They just don't want to see him take any more damage, right? But if he is able to come in there and turn back the hands of time, Jesus Christ, that would be a huge win. Somebody took it to the stupid and was telling me, Hood champion, you don't know what you're talking about. If Errol Spence beat Terrence Crawford, that wouldn't be a big win. The biggest win in boxing as far as rematches was when Manuel Marquez knocking out Pacquiao. I said, yo, hold your horses, champ. Let's not take it to the stupid. Juan Manuel Marquez, Pacquiao 4. Get out of here. Now, was that a pretty big deal? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal. Shocked a lot of us. But when you understand what's going on with the cocktail, not surprised that Juan Manuel Marquez knocked Pacquiao out the way he did. I said in other videos, I ain't talking about the one-hit quitter where Pacquiao was tongue-kissing the floor. I'm talking about that first shot he hit Pacquiao with. Pacquiao checked out for a moment and woke up when his head hit the ground. That shit was vicious. And when he hit him with that shot, I said, oh no, something's going on here. So my thing is, Juan Marquez, let me quit trying to say fucking out here messing up my goddamn talk. Marquez beating Pacquiao. That was a huge win, but it's hard for me to give him a lot of credit because I think there's something foul there. The way his body changed, everything, you got to put a hairy eyeball on that. And I just think you got to be fair. It's just like when Fernando Vargas came in there to fight De La Hoya. Vargas, he never looked like that. Never looked like that. Test positive for some substance too, didn't he? So that's all I'm saying. I can't give Marquez credit for that win the way I want to. But I'm going to tell you this. If Errol Spence can do it against Terrence Crawford, that would be huge. Especially Terrence Crawford's on, he's snack strong. So he has a pharmaceutical genius helping him with supplementation, strategy, and just everything, right? And if Errol Spence, it sounds like he doesn't have that kind of pharmaceutical genius there assisting him. That would speak volumes. It actually puts Victor Conte looking crazy. Because it's like, damn, Conte, Heredia's got the secret sauce over there. You don't. Because you're supposed to be this genius, brilliant mind and about rest and recovery and blood cells and all this crap. But now you come out here and Terrence Crawford, many see as a pound-for-pound best boxer, if he was a loser, Errol Spence, and Errol Spence doesn't have anybody giving him the secret sauce. Get out of here. Remember, when I say secret sauce, I don't mean it's pads. I mean it's something that those pharmaceutical geniuses, something that they know, and they can put together that the average strength and conditioning person just can't put together. I talk a lot about Angel Heredia. But you got to, until somebody pops hot for something, you got to give these guys credit. Because, again, Heredia is a chemist. This man, went to school. He got a degree in science and worked as a chemist. So Heredia knows what he's doing. The downside is there were times where they used their gift and intelligence for the wrong thing. But they seem to be doing it for the right thing now. But speaking of that, Ryan Garcia. Let me tell you something. He didn't really get beat down by Tank Davis. Errol Spence got beat down by Terrence Crawford. So for Ryan Garcia, he had great moments in that fight against Tank, and he did hurt Tank in that fight. He hurt Tank. Tank would never say it, but he hurt Tank. Tank didn't want to get hit by no more of them damn shots. But Tank is a smart fighter. Ryan Garcia was overly aggressive and fighting off a lot of emotion, which made the fight easy for Tank Davis. Now, if they were to have a rematch, these are the things. There was a rehydration clause. Ryan Garcia had to come down to a weight he didn't want to make. It was hard making the weight. So Ryan Garcia was kind of in a situation similar to Errol Spence. But Ryan Garcia did not look that weak throughout the fight. Errol Spence, he definitely looked, his feet, his legs, he was falling. Spence looked weak. But I think Crawford had a lot to do with that. But if we're going to talk about Ryan Garcia and being weight drained and the rehydration clause, you didn't look nothing like Errol Spence. You know what I mean? Nothing. You were coming on strong. You were trying to get at Tank Davis. So I'm not so sure the weight cut, for me, I'm not sure how much that affected Ryan Garcia. But if he says it affected him, got to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's the one who's in the ring fighting. But if he was to have a rematch with Tank, no rehydration clause and everything, I think that would be big if Ryan was to beat him. Especially how many people see Tank Davis as the face of boxing. I don't agree with that, but I think he's right there. So bottom line is, if you ask me whose rematch victory will be greater, I'm not here to say what each fighter needs to do. We're just having a conversation about if Spence was to defeat Crawford, if Ryan was to defeat Tank, whose rematch victory will be greater? I say Errol Spence. Because everything that man went through in that fight with Terrence Crawford, he got beat down. Beat down, and he never quit. He still wanted to fight. And if he and Crawford, when they have this rematch, if it's going bad again, I'm telling you right now, they're going to stop that fight early. You want to bet some money? This is a whole other video. I should just go into another video. If Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, if for some reason Errol Spence, in the first, second, third round is getting hit with some shots and looks like he did in that first fight, that fight's going to get stopped. Watch. I'm sure those conversations will be taking place with doctors, with the commission, with people who are right there behind the scenes, who are involved with making sure fighters get out the ring safely. I guarantee you they'll stop that fight. It's just like when Evander Holyfield signed to fight that MMA fighter on the Triller fight card. Evander got hit with a decent shot. Evander Holyfield's a tough guy. He would have been just fine. They stopped that fight. They didn't. They're like, nope, we're not going to sit there, man, and let somebody get killed on our platform. And Evander was pissed, and I think he should be, because I think he would have won the fight. But the guy came out, he's strong, and caught him with something, and then they immediately stopped it. And it's one of those things that, what do you expect him to do? You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But that being said, Ryan Garcia, I just find that he was having great moments in there with Tank. He didn't look to be totally outclassed. He just fought the wrong fight. And doesn't matter what he says about being dehydrated, the rehydration clause. It didn't really show up in that ring to me, especially when he said at the end of the fight that, hey, he got hit and he just made a choice not to continue, because he knew if he continued, he'd just get hurt even worse. And that's probably the right thing to do, especially if you already have a pre-existing injury to your rib and Tank realizes that you're sensitive to the body. All Tank was going to do was go ahead and target the body and get you focused on that and come upstairs. So Ryan Garcia was going to get knocked out at some point in the fight, and probably viciously knocked out if he didn't call it quits like he did. But at the end of the day, as far as whose rematch victory would be greater, if Errol Spence can somehow manage to pull it off, I got to give it to Errol Spence. But I understand some people still won't want to give him credit, because they're saying, oh, he had to fight Crawford at 154. He should have rematched him at the weight he lost at. So Errol Spence doesn't get any credit. But to that I say to the boxing fans who take that position, that I kindly request, in the most respectful way, that you'll hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. Can't make everybody happy out here. In the breeze.